Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Anastasia here with this week's Team On Recap. Today is part 1 of a 3-part reunion. Dr. Drew says that it's split in 3 parts to fit in all the drama, but it's also likely they just didn't feel like editing together the little deleted scene stuff that they usually do. Also, only Chelsea and Leah are currently on stage together because everyone else had some issue or another where they refused to be around each other. Really wish I could just refuse to be around my coworkers and still get paid. Leah and Chelsea both say that it's easier like this with just the 2 of them there, probably because they get all the food and craft services themselves. Leah updates on Addie. She turned out that she had mono, but was on antibiotics for a while and is doing better. She mentions that she was impressed that Jeremy showed up to help. Then she gives a little more detail on Jason's creepiness. She was not impressed, on the other hand, when Jason called her mom, showed up at her grandma's house, and according to Leah, he actually walked over there. And when he barged in on her after he left, Addie got up and locked the door and said he was creepy. When your 6-year-old is freaked out by your boyfriend, that's a very bad sign. Dr. Drew cautions the audience about the stalking behaviors that Jason was showing, and he says, "It's weird how young men do that these days." That's very polite of you, Dr. Drew, but Jason is no young man. Nessa asked Leah what her breaking point was with the relationship, and she said that he called his ex-wife on Valentine's Day. Nessa commends her for trusting her instincts because women's intuition, blah blah blah, women stick together. But in reality, she broke up with him because her podcast co-host basically told her she should. She mentioned that in an article. Then Nessa says that Leah was good not to give Jason any chances, I guess not realizing that they got together and then broke up again after the initial breakup, so she did give him a few chances there. Then Jeremy comes out on stage. They ask him about the accuracy of what Leah had been talking about on stage. He said that Leah is actually downplaying the Jason stuff, and says he's super controlling, even more than Leah says he is. After Jeremy would call Leah about Addie or whatever, Jason would make Leah call him again 10 minutes later on speaker to make sure they hadn't talked about anything romantic or flirtation. MTV knows what's up and puts this big-ass creepy picture of Jason in the background while they talk about this. Jeremy says he was concerned about Jason after Jason never said hi to him or introduced himself. He was never jealous, but rather happy for Leah until Jason got weird. While Jason was showing up trying to get Leah back, he asked Addie if she wanted a new stepdaddy. Yeah, that's really weird. Leah says it was a manipulative thing rather than suggesting that they get married. And thank God she actually saw that. Nessa tries to sneakily ask Jeremy if Leah and him are hooking up, and Leah just blurts out that they've had fun this weekend, and everyone laughs because we all know what's up. Dr. Drew and his awkward ass say that him and Leah are more mature now and they have a mutual project with the kids. It sounds like he's talking about them doing a DIY house project rather than raising their child. He asked if Addie's still confused about them, and Leah says that they had a fire one night with her and she asked if they loved each other. I'm not sure what that means, like were they actually sitting by a fire, or Addie set something on fire, or was it a metaphor for their dumpster fire of a relationship? They do a little Q&A with Addie FaceTiming in and the audience asking her questions. She wants to be a fairy when she grows up, just lots of little kid answers. Next is Kailyn. She hasn't talked to Chris in 2 months because of a humiliating incident. She acts like this is the first time he has humiliated her, which is kinda sad. What happened was she threw a baby shower for his best friend. One of the girls he cheated on her with was sitting next to her the whole time. She was the only one who didn't know, and she didn't find out until the end. And that was the straw that broke the Hulk's back. As for Michaela, she says it's hard because they grew up not knowing each other. It's hard to prioritize each other, although they do catch up from time to time. When they bring up the Jenelle burning the hair care products incident, Kailyn said it didn't hurt her feelings and she doesn't have a problem with Jenelle herself. The lie detector / common sense test has determined that that part was a lie. She admits to being annoyed when Barb said that they should go kill Kailyn. As for Briana, Kailyn is ashamed of how she acted last reunion, but she still doesn't want to associate with Briana, or actually calls her those people. Then she brags about how much of a diva she is. She's like, I didn't even agree to come to this reunion until 5 p.m. yesterday. Congratulations. The producers probably hate you. Briana comes on stage next and is a little bit nicer than Kailyn. They ask if she's willing to have a conversation with Kailyn, and she says yes, and she's even willing to sit next to her on the couch. Nessa hopes that they can all sit together at some point. Briana says maybe next season we can, if there is a next season, and she kind of winks at the audience. Conspiracy theory. Briana was trying to get Jenelle fired to try to get Team On 2 canceled all along. I'm not sure how that benefit her, but she just might be dumb enough to try. They show a sneak peek of next season where Devon gets so drunk watching Nova and her friends at the pool that Briana has to pick him up, and he's nearly blacking out. She hasn't spoke to him since then. Then Dr. Drew, always ready in there with his weird out-of-place comments, says he's still a Devon fan. Good for you, Dr. Drew. John, Briana's boyfriend, comes out on stage with Briana. He's pretty likable. He says he loves kids, he wouldn't mind talking to Devon or even Lewis, though he doesn't agree with their actions. Nessa asks if he wants to have kids with Briana, and he says, of course, like super lowly. Gotta have that plausible deniability. So when Briana's poking holes in the condoms later, saying, you wanted this, John, he can say, no, listen again to that tape, that is not what I said. I said, of course not, Briana. They ask if John has any problems with Briana and their relationship, but before he can answer honestly, she answers for him. And she's like, well, he says I'm stubborn, I stress him out, I'm crazy, after she just raved about him. She's also hanging all over him, like touching him while he sits there stiff as a board. I really hope he's just camera shy and different when they're alone, because this is just kind of embarrassing. Next is Jenelle. They talk about the social media fight between her and Amber. Jenelle is mad that she went to Radar talking about how Jenelle was in an abusive relationship, while in person, Amber and David had gotten along just fine. She would prefer Amber to have said something to her in person. Then, kind of out of nowhere, Nessa's like, oh, that's funny, Jenelle. And she pulls up this screenshot of Jenelle talking about how she disagrees with Nike making Colin Kaepernick their spokesperson. Nessa then gets super confrontational, saying that the post was hateful, when if you read it, it really wasn't that bad. Jenelle denies knowing about the post, most likely because she copy-pasted it from a Facebook meme, except maybe the last sentence that actually sounds like Jenelle. Nessa keeps yelling at Jenelle, we're having a healthy conversation, you should have come to me about this in person, this is my family you're talking about. Which is kind of ridiculous. The post was more about Nike and just her disagreement with it, and again, she probably didn't even write it herself. I'm not sure why she'd have to contact Nessa personally about that. But Nessa just gets up on her soapbox and goes on and on about stupid posts. And weird as it is to say, as much as I love to see Jenelle called out, I just feel like this wasn't the time or place for that. It felt very forced. It has nothing to do with Teen Mom. The post was not as bad as Nessa was making it out to be. Jenelle has made way worse posts in the past. And it just didn't have anything to do with the reunion. There are so many other things you can call Jenelle out on: her parenting, lack of, her horrible relationship, her horrible everything, but this was just a stupid post on Facebook. I really did not see the big deal. Of course, Jenelle leaves the stage, cries, throws her mics off, and walks off. I'm not sure what they expected, political, intellectual debate from Jenelle Evans. And that's all for this episode of Teen Mom 2. What do you think about Nessa bringing up that Facebook post to Jenelle? And was Jason right to be suspicious of Leah and Jeremy, given that they're now hooking up again? Leave a comment down below, and make sure to subscribe for Teen Mom recaps every week.